Hi guys, welcome back. So today I thought it'd be fun if I talked to you about one of my family Christmas traditions, and that is that every year the girls in my family, so me, my mom, and my sister-in-law, we get together and we make Christmas cookies. I'm going to try to not slide them off this plate. We make all different kinds, and thought it'd be fun if I show you some of the recipes and we talk about some of the cookies. This has always been a thing that we've done in my family. I don't remember not doing masses of Christmas cookies. We've done it since I was a kid. My mom and I would just make oodles and oodles and oodles of Christmas cookies. And it's developed over the year, and we have one favorite, I think, that's stuck around for this whole time, maybe two. Two of them have stuck around for a really long time. But most of them are new recipes that we've just kind of added in the last couple of years and discovered that we really, really, really like. But as we've talked about before, my family and I, we are big on cooking. I love cooking. I love baking. I just really enjoy being in the kitchen and making stuff. So Christmas Cookie Day is a kind of a huge deal in my family. We plan it out super well, and we get together and we make cookies. But so I thought it'd be fun if we go over some of the recipes and I show you some of the stuff that we do. So let's get started. So a lot of the time will get recipes online, like you do. But then what we do is we have a bunch of just binders, and we'll put recipes in like these plastic sleeves like this, and we'll put them in the binders, and that way we have all of our recipes in our own little like curated cookbooks. And even and I'll do a video on this soon so you guys can see this too. I'm making a cookbook for a friend of mine who is just delving into learning to cook. So I'm making him a cookbook for Christmas, and he said I should make it into a video. So as soon as it's done, we'll do that. But so these are a lot of these are ones that we got online, but a lot of them too are just ones that have been passed down for a long time that my mom had in just some of her own cookbooks from when she was younger. And she typed them up and printed them out. So we've got ones like this, where there's two different recipes on the page that are ones that she got from, I think it was a cookbook that her church did when she was in her 20s. So a bit ago. But yeah, so the first one that I'm going to show you off of my lovely plate of cookies is these guys right here. These guys are one of our favorites. They're a new cookie that we do, that we just started doing maybe in the last, I say new, but it's probably been like 4 or 5 years now. New for us, new-ish. It's newer to the tradition. But these are peanut butter cup cookies. So these guys, let's see if I can get the camera to focus on them. These guys are peanut butter cookies, and they have a mini peanut butter cup on the inside. And I prefer dark chocolate, and I know as like half of us prefer the dark and half of us prefer the milk, so we do half and half on those guys. But these are super fun because you make them, I'll show you the recipe too. This is the recipe. They're super delicious. If you guys want any of these recipes, I'm happy to show you. I'm happy to share them. A lot of these, like I said, are just ones I got off the internet, and we've tweaked them a bit. We need to retype them, but I'd be happy to get you recipes. These guys are super fun because it's a pretty basic peanut butter dough, and you form them into balls, like the walnut-ish sized, maybe like that big. And they go in mini muffin pans. And once you're done baking, once they come out of the oven, you immediately press a peanut butter cup onto the inside. And I will tell you, they are really hard to eat the first day because that peanut butter cup will melt in about 5 minutes. Faster than that. It'll be fully melted in like 5 minutes. And then it doesn't set for another like 4 or 5 hours. So you end up with this peanut butter cookie with just this gooey peanut butter cup on the inside, which is super yummy, but they're really hard to eat on the first day. But they are one of the favorites, and they are one that I would super recommend, and probably one you guys could even like make up with your own peanut butter cookie recipe. Just get some peanut butter cups. We get the ones from Trader Joe's because they don't have MSG in them. I really like Reese's, but I don't eat MSG because I can taste it and it doesn't taste good. But the next ones that I'll show you are these guys over here. These are almond spiced arugula, which I think is Jewish, so it might be arugula, but I don't know for sure. This is what they look like. Kind of like a little crescent roll or something. And this is a recipe that my mom has had for ever. And they're one of my dad's favorite cookies ever, so we make them almost every year. Sometimes we don't because we have too many other things we're making. Like I said, we do a lot of cookies. But these guys are, it's kind of a basic, almost a pastry more than it is a cookie. And then the filling, looking at the recipe, the filling is almonds, sugar, cinnamon, and nutmeg, and butter to bind it all together. But so they're just a really nice, almost like a warm holiday spice on the inside. And they're just super yummy. They're ones that I really enjoy. We make them pretty small. The recipe says to make them bigger than this, but I like a little 2-bite cookie. My mom's rule is that your cookies should be small enough that you can have one for each hand and not feel bad about it. So we like to make our cookies nice and small, like a nice little 2-bite cookie, so that you can have more of them, you can have more kinds, and you don't feel bad about having had a bazillion cookies, because in quantity you probably only had like 4. Like if compared to normal size cookie, you probably had 4 by having 8 to 10 of this size cookie. I think that's brilliant. One for each hand is always a good rule. The next ones that I'll show you, I have heard them called Blackeyed Susans, and I know they're supposed to have a Hershey kiss on them. But we do them with Ghirardelli melting wafers. And we usually call them kiss cookies because that's what they were in the cookbook that we got. But we do them like this. I did them a little differently this year, so I did half dark and half white chocolate, because we discovered that we actually really liked doing them with a Hershey's Hug more than with a Hershey's Kiss, because the Hershey Kiss, I don't know, it was okay. But like Hershey's chocolate's not amazing, you know? It's just decent chocolate. And then a friend of mine who loves Blackeyed Susans always asked me to make him those for Christmas, and I had been, and then one year he came out and was like, I don't know why I always ask for you to make me those if I always have to pick off the chocolate. And I was like, why are you picking off the chocolate? Why didn't you tell me? I could just put something else on them. So we experimented, my mom and I, and came up with the Ghirardelli melting wafers, and they're super yummy. I like them better like that. So it's it's again a pretty basic peanut butter cookie that is then rolled in sugar. So you roll it in a little ball, roll it in sugar, put it in the oven. I think it's like 9 minutes, and they're perfect at 9 minutes. And as soon as they come out, put the chocolate on, let them set for a second, take them off the pan. They're so good, and we do them. Okay, if you like your cookie a little bit more done, go for 10 minutes. But I like a just barely or just underdone cookie. So gooey cookies, man, they're the best. Okay, next we'll go to these guys. These guys are my brother's favorite. These are ginger doodles. So it's like a cross between a ginger snap and a snickerdoodle. And that is probably the most apt way I can describe it. So if you really like ginger snaps or gingerbread and you really like snickerdoodles, look up ginger doodles because they are super good. They've got like the molasses for like the ginger snap, gingerbread flavor. They've got all the warm holiday spices, so cinnamon, clove, nutmeg, ginger, and then they're rolled in cinnamon sugar. They're so good. So good. Some years we end up making snickerdoodles instead of the ginger doodles, but most years we're like ginger doodles. And they're my brother's favorite, so that's generally what we go with. Because what we do generally, not always, but a lot of the time, is that everyone will pick their favorite Christmas cookie, and we make a couple of batches of that, and then we have like family favorites, which would be like these and these, because we all just love those and we can't not have them. So if somebody didn't pick those, we would feel awful. But yeah, that's what we do. And the ginger doodles have been on the list for the last maybe 4 years now, probably about 4 years. Next in our lovely plate of cookies is these ones right here. These are raspberry almond shortbread thumbprints. That's a mouthful. And they're supposed to be raspberry. We didn't have any raspberry jam and didn't feel like going to the store, so it's I think we did a 4-fruit jam, so it's got cherry and black currant and raspberry and something else. Blackberry, maybe? It's a different berry, I know that much. But these are a super simple like shortbread cookie dough with a little bit of almond extract in it. And you roll that in a little ball. We press it with we have a 1/4 teaspoon measuring spoon that's just like the perfect size to make a little well in the cookie. Just like poke a little hole in it. You fill it with jam, put it in the oven, and they come out with this melty jam center that's super yummy and looks harder to do than it actually is. They're super easy. They're one of the ones that if you're not super familiar with baking, try a shortbread cookie because they're fairly forgiving. It's not a lot of ingredients and they're usually super delicious. So that is one that quickly became a family favorite, and we make it most years at this point. It's probably been, it might be close to a decade since we've been making those. But we can do them in all different flavors. Doesn't matter what kind of jam you want to do. You can literally do anything. We've done just cherry. We've done blackberry, raspberry. I know we did a apricot at one point, and that was really good. And because almond goes really well with almost every kind of fruit, especially stone fruits and berries, you can do the same dough and the same, it's got an almond glaze on the top and the same everything else, and just change out the jam depending on the time of year and what kind of flavor profile you're going for. Our new cookie for this year are these guys. These guys, and I brought 2 so I could show you the 2 different colors I did. We also rolled some in pecans, but those don't look quite as pretty. These guys are a Swedish Christmas cookie. And we've had the recipe for eons. And for some reason, we hadn't ever made them before. And we were going through our recipes this year, and I was like, well, why don't we try these? They sound really good. They're cardamom and lemon flavored. So they've got a bunch of cardamom and some lemon zest. And they're super yummy. And it's basically a shortbread cookie. Super easy to make. And you just make your dough, you roll it into a log, wrap it in plastic wrap, and put it in the fridge overnight. And the next day you can cut them. They're just a slice, bake, done. And you don't have to roll them and stuff if you don't want to, if you don't like the nuts or the sanding sugar. I have a hard time saying the word sugar sometimes. If you don't want any of that on the outside, they would be totally fine to just bake as is without any of that on them. But they're really, really yummy. They're nice and lemony, but they still have that little bit of kind of a wintry flavor to them because they are a Christmas cookie. So you want that little bit of a winter in there. The next one, which is actually the second to last cookie we're going to talk about, is these ones right here. And these are my dad's absolute favorite cookie. These are Pinwheels. And generally, it's a chocolate and vanilla dough. And this year I thought I would have some fun, so I made the white dough is vanilla almond instead. And this one is actually really funny and will relate to the next cookie I'm going to show you, which is my favorite cookie. This one, we have a recipe for it. Here, ribbon or swirl cookies. And we've been making it by this recipe for years. I think we got this recipe, actually I can tell you because it says right here. We've had this recipe since 2008. We've been making them yearly ever since that. But, so it has a vanilla dough recipe and a chocolate dough recipe. And then we would also make these other chocolate cookies, which are the next ones I'm going to show you. And one year, we had made all of the doughs ahead of time and put them in the fridge so that on cookie baking day, or bake-a-palooza as we call it, we could just bake and not have to think about mixing up all the doughs and having ingredients all over the place. And my mother didn't read the labels on the bags when she was making the Pinwheel cookies and used the wrong dough, which was annoying on the day, but ended up making the Pinwheel cookies way better because that chocolate dough is so good. It is so good. It is just, it's probably the best chocolate cookie dough I've ever had, and I've had a lot of chocolate cookies in my day. But then this year, we had never done this before, but this year we decided to roll these guys in pistachios. So it's got this nice like salty bite on the outside, which is really nice because otherwise sometimes the sheer mass of Christmas cookie can just get to be a little bit too sweet. So it's nice to have that little bit of savory attached to the cookie. We did some plain because my brother and my sister-in-law are not super fond of nuts in their cookies or in desserts in general. The weirdos. But most of them we did with the nuts because we thought that would be really good, and they are super yummy, super delicious. And pistachio and almond go really well, so with my little tweak of adding almond extract to the vanilla dough, it's really good. I really like them. Last but not least, these guys right here. Which one's prettier? Oh, this one. Okay, I'll show you this one. This guy is a chocolate, hazelnut, and caramel thumbprint cookie. And these are my favorite. But I'm too nice and I don't make us make them every year because they are such a process to make. This is the dough that was stolen by the Pinwheel cookies. The Pinwheels. So the Pinwheels and the Thumbprints have the same dough now. The Pinwheels have their own vanilla dough, but we use the Thumbprint dough for the chocolate. It's that good. It's a really, really rich but not super sweet chocolate dough. And then you bake them. You put a little hole in it like you do with the other Thumbprints. Put a little hole in it, bake it. When they come out, you repress that hole so that it maintains, because sometimes it'll fluff because you don't put anything in it when you bake it. Oh, when you've rolled it in toasted hazelnuts before you bake it too. When they come out, you fill them with caramel sauce and you put a little hazelnut on top. I think you're supposed to also add some chocolate to that top bit, but because that cookie is so nice and richly chocolate, we don't do that, or we didn't this year. But there's so many steps that go into making these little Thumbprints that I don't think we've made them in like 5 years. And they're seriously one of my favorites, so they could easily be like the cookie that I make us make every year. But because I end up being the one who has to make them, I just don't. They're such a hassle. Everything else that we make is fairly easy. We've kind of gotten to the point that we're good. We know what we're doing with most everything else here. Like these we've made for so long and they're super easy to do. These guys, again, we've made them for eons. They're super easy. The ginger doodles, just roll them, whatever. Everything's fairly simple. The hardest ones probably are the arugula, just because of the way that you have to wrap it up with the filling, or maybe the pinwheels because it's two different doughs. But these guys, man, they're so difficult to make. They're just tricky little buggers, and they're so darn good. So I made us make them this year, and I will devour all of them because they're delicious and they're my favorite. But I hope you guys liked this video. Let me know what you think. Let me know what cookie sounds the best and what cookie you guys would make if you guys were making Christmas cookies. If you want any of these recipes, leave me a comment and I will get the recipe to you, because I am happy to share recipes. I have millions and billions and billions. If you guys want to see other cooking and baking videos, please do let me know. I cook all the time and I bake not infrequently. People where I work are very happy because sometimes I get the baking itch and I will bring them all sorts of baked goods. They love it. It's great. It's fun for me too. Well, I hope you guys liked this video and I will see you again next week. Have a good one. Bye.